Breaking news from the FIM Stewards. Enea Bastianini's penalty has just been announced following the collision with Francesco Bagnaia. Plus, we've got the latest on Joan Mir's condition after a terrifying crash at the French MotoGP. Stay tuned as we dive into these developments. This is one discussion you won't want to miss. Enea Bastianini experienced a turbulent and unforgettable weekend at the French Grand Prix, one that highlighted the fine margins and unforgiving nature of MotoGP racing. The Tech 3 KTM rider found himself entangled in a series of incidents and penalties that ultimately compromised his performance and left him with lingering consequences heading into the next round. The trouble started early during Saturday's sprint race. While battling with Joan Mir, Bastianini was found guilty of reckless maneuvering, which led to a two-place penalty for irresponsible riding. Although the infringement didn't result in a crash, the stewards deemed his conduct as dangerous enough to warrant disciplinary action, setting the tone for what would become a difficult weekend. Things escalated dramatically during Sunday's Grand Prix, which had to be restarted due to rapidly changing weather conditions. In the chaos of the restart, Bastianini, along with 12 other riders, opted to enter the pit lane at the end of the sighting lap. According to race regulations, this act automatically incurs a double long lap penalty for each rider involved, marking the start of Bastianini's string of on-track setbacks. Before he had the opportunity to serve the initial double long lap penalty, Bastianini lost control of his bike at turn 1. In the process, he collided with Francesco Bagnaia, his former teammate from the Ducati factory squad. Both riders went down in the gravel, but managed to remount and rejoin the race, though the damage, both physical and strategic, had already been done. Bastianini continued on and eventually served the double long lap penalty that was issued earlier. However, stability remained elusive. Not long after, he suffered another crash, this time at turn 14. Once again, he picked up the bike and continued riding, showing resilience, but also underlining the messy and unpredictable nature of his race. Adding to his troubles, Bastianini then entered the pits to swap to a dry bike, but in his haste, he exceeded the designated pit lane speed limit. This seemingly minor infraction added another layer of punishment, a second double long lap penalty. It was a moment that encapsulated the Italian rider's misfortune and lack of rhythm throughout the race. Despite the compounding penalties and crashes, Bastianini completed the race, albeit one lap down. He crossed the finish line in 13th place, salvaging a handful of points from what was otherwise a chaotic and punishing experience. His perseverance was commendable, but the day's events left a significant mark on his campaign. Unfortunately for Bastianini, the troubles didn't end with the checkered flag. Following the race, the FIM stewards reviewed the Turn 3 incident involving Bagnaia and determined that Bastianini had once again ridden irresponsibly. This time, the ruling was more serious, as the collision had directly caused another rider to crash, violating safety protocols designed to protect all competitors. The incident was classified under the MotoGP penalty protocol as a race start opening lap violation, an offense considered particularly dangerous due to the high risk involved when the field is bunched closely together. While such actions typically result in a double long lap penalty, the stewards reduced the sanction to a single long lap penalty, acknowledging extenuating circumstances. This penalty will now be carried over and served at the next round at Silverstone. Meanwhile, Bagnaia's weekend also ended in disappointment. A crash during the sprint cost him valuable points, and his involvement in the Turn 1 incident during the Grand Prix left him finishing outside the points in 16th place. For the reigning champion, it was a rare, pointless weekend that could have implications in the title race if his rivals capitalize. MotoGP weekends like this one remind us just how quickly fortunes can shift in this high-stakes sport. What did you think of Bastianini's performance at Le Mans? Was it a case of bad luck, poor judgment, or a bit of both? Let's hear your take. Joan Mir's turbulent weekend at the French Grand Prix took a devastating turn during Sunday's main event, as the factory Honda rider was involved in a dramatic early crash that forced him out of the race. The incident unfolded at the Le Mans circuit during a chaotic opening lap marred by wet conditions and poor visibility, setting the stage for what became a multi-bike collision. The crash occurred when Mir, attempting to navigate through the tight and treacherous first chicane, made contact with Ducati's Francesco Bagnaia. The collision continued into Turn 4, sending both riders tumbling into the gravel. While Bagnaia managed to remount his machine and rejoin the race, Mir's condition appeared more serious, as stewards carefully escorted him off the track. Johann Zarco, who would go on to clinch victory in front of his home crowd, narrowly avoided being swept up in the pileup. Enea Bastianini was also involved in the melee, underscoring the widespread nature of the opening lap chaos that shaped the early dynamics of the race. For Mir, however, the moment marked the end of his campaign in France. Initial medical checks at the circuit's facility prompted further concern, leading to Mir's transfer to a nearby hospital for more detailed examinations. The 2020 MotoGP World Champion was found to have suffered a fracture in his right hand, along with notable neck pain, raising questions about his fitness for the upcoming rounds. His crash was particularly unfortunate given the promise he had shown earlier in the day. Mir had set the fastest time during the Sunday morning warm-up session, demonstrating pace and confidence despite the challenging track conditions. The session itself was red-flagged following an unrelated crash involving Alex Marquez, adding to the weekend's overall unpredictability. Though Mir had qualified 15th for the main race, he fought hard in Saturday's sprint, managing to finish in 9th position. His resilience and determination were evident, and expectations for a stronger Sunday performance were not unfounded. But the race's wet start and subsequent incident brought a premature and painful end to his efforts. Honda Racing Corporation later released an official statement describing the crash as really unlucky, highlighting the involvement of multiple riders and the severe impact sustained by Mir. They confirmed the fracture and the ongoing monitoring of his neck pain, with further updates on his recovery expected in the coming days. As MotoGP continues its relentless pace, fans and fellow riders alike will be watching closely for updates on Mir's condition. What do you think? Can Joan Mir bounce back stronger in the next round, or will this setback cast a longer shadow over his 2025 season? Hey MotoGP fans, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with all the latest action.